Here a little bit early for the obligatory faffing about. Come on, you kilobytes. Wallop. What, 8,000? 6,000. That's all we need. We only need 6. Went up to 8 then. Never seen 8. Never seen 8. Sat in there nicely at 6. That's nice, isn't it? That's nice. What else do you like doing? You like popping the chat out? Like doing that? Get that done. You have a bit of that. Oh yeah, you definitely. We always have a bit of that. Got that done. Move that. Shuffle. Bit of shuffling. Always have a bit of that. What's the other thing we like to do? We like to do this. I like to check if you can hear me. Always have a bit of that. What's the other thing we like to do? We like to do this. I like to check if you can hear me. Always have a bit of that. What's the other thing we like to do? We like to do this. Yep. I like to check if you can hear me. Done that. It is, of course, Monday. It is, of course, 8 PM. Hi, you're with Scott. It's Mental Health Monday. It's midnight. It's always midnight. It's 8 PM GMT. This is your right ear and your left ear in mono. What else do we like doing? What else is part of the obligatory faff? So we've got the chat popped out. We've got the browser. We've got everything running. I think we're cool. I think we're good. What are we doing tonight? But what are we doing tonight? Oh, don't worry. I'll tell you. I'll show you. So, exercise is good for depression. That's a general thing. I think we generally know that. Just quickly read over that in a minute. Getting started with mindful movement here on mindful.org. It's like a magazine website thing. So we're going to have a look at this. We're going to have a look at mindful movement, the benefits, some movement meditations and stuff. And it turns out walking, when I scroll down to it, let me get down to it. Because we're going to be looking at all this. Where's the walking bit? There you are, look, mindful walking, meditation. It turns out walking, you've been doing it wrong. We've all been doing it wrong. Got my nice cup of tea on the go. Got my bit of cake over there for emergency purposes. We've been walking wrong. Walking, you've been doing it wrong. That's the way I'm gonna frame this, to try and get a maximum clickbaitage. Maximum, have I been walking wrong? Is that been my problem all these years? Is it because I've been walking wrong? But you know what I mean. Where's my chat? Let me get my chat, so that's on the thing. Get me windows in order. There we go, walking, am I doing it wrong? I'm going to find out. Then we're going to look a little bit about playing football, and I wanted to just bring up this website, The Conversation, because I think it's quite a good one, quite a good website. Academic rigour, journalistic flair, their little slogan there. But what's good about it is they've got some studies, so you can find the studies, to read about the studies. We'll get onto that in a bit. And if you're lucky, we'll talk about the football song that the Birmingham City fans sing. If you're lucky. And a guide to Tai Chi, little cheeky guide to Tai Chi, if you're lucky, if we get onto that, if you've got time. Before we get going, I'll just quickly put this up. If you're at crisis point, if you're coming to Mental Health Monday because you're in some sort of despair moment, what's this guy doing shuffling on? Why is he laughing about things? This is a serious thing and I need help. The Samaritans are waiting for your call. You can always talk to us in chat. We can always just not talk about exercise today. We can talk about something else. We can talk about whatever you want in chat. That's always an option. Just want to make sure that that's clear. But if you are at crisis point and you're having really depressive thoughts of suicide, the Samaritans is a free phone number in the UK. It's a website there with support. That's a good place to go. So with that said, this is also a good place to be. We've got our own Mental Health Monday YouTube channel now. YouTube channel supported by Patreons. Made possible, this whole shebang, made possible by the old Patreons. That's all available there, Mental Health Monday, on the old YouTubes. We've only got 2 videos at the moment. That was last week's. No, it's not. That was the week before. The one last week, I've got to export it and upload it. I should have done it yesterday. but we're doing it just a day late. And we're also re-uploading the early uploads from True by Northern ASMR. So there's going to be a dual upload schedule there. And that's a good place to find that. It's a good place to link into the Patreon Mental Health Monday YouTube channel. Of course, this got me chat in the window. Hang on. So my sachet was all wrong. Yeah, it's today's Mental Health Monday is about how to walk properly. How to walk properly. I did also want to just quickly mention that Mental Health Monday is a regular 8 PM GMT. It's what we do here. But we also talk about art generally on stream. So I'm not a mental health professional. I've got a bit of experience. Cup of tea, and we'll talk through some of this. Will there be demonstrations? I did consider it. I have briefed myself on some of the things that will be coming up today. I've briefed myself, done a bit of research. I did consider the demonstrations, but the camera, you see the camera, you know what I'm like, it would involve moving the camera around and getting a good shot of some of this space in the room. You can see more of the space in the room because I've been messing with the camera to that end, but not put it back properly. But I think the thing is that it's not whether I do them, it's whether you do them. So I'll be expecting everybody out there in Twitch land, in America, in North Africa, in South Korea, in YouTube land, in where else? Scotland and England and Ireland, and yeah, I'm expecting all you to be doing it. Being depressed can leave you feeling low in energy, which might put you off being more active. It might put you off reading this, so you don't have to. Don't worry, I'm going to. Regular exercise can boost your mood. We get that, don't we? It's useful for people with mild to moderate depression. There's a doctor's quote here, quote from a doctor: any exercise is useful as long as it suits you and you do enough of it. So that's really good, vague in general. Exercise should be something you enjoy. Otherwise it'll be hard to find the motivation to do it regularly. That's a good point though. That's a really good point. How often do you need to exercise? How often do you need to exercise? To stay healthy, adults should do about 150... Ooh, well, that's every week. All right, okay. I thought then 150 minutes. I was thinking I don't get 150 minutes in every day. But no, that's every week. 150 minutes a day. A week. But any exercise is better than none. Even a brisk 10-minute walk can clear your mind and help you relax. So there's some things to think about. And I know our friend in chat here, Snips, is going to be familiar with the concept of exercising. But also I know that you are as well, if you're not Snips, if you're somebody else. Everyone is familiar with the concept. So I'm not going to patronise you by really going over the deeper concept of exercise too much. But there are some really interesting points that get brought out here that say you can take part in a team sport, attend classes, or just become more active in your daily routine. All of these things might mean that you engage with people more. Being part of a team means that you're literally being part of a team. So you're talking to them, engaging in that way. Classes, you might find a friend who might want to go to the classes with you, or you might go to the class and see somebody regularly and start talking. There'll be people there. And if you're more active, if you're more active in your daily routine by walking or cycling, then you might have cause to be like, oh, watch out, get out of the way, but you might actually, you might pop into the coffee shop here and there. As today's the first day in the UK that you're now allowed to do that again, celebrating by being here with you. But yeah, you might see more people that way. So there might be other benefits to the exercise other than just the physical benefits. If being outdoors appeals to you, green gym projects run with the conservation volunteers. They do things out in the woods. I do that though. I go walking in the woods with my dog. You don't have to go running on the mean streets. Beep beep, watch out. Being out in the countryside is good as well. Exercise on prescription. Look, GPs might prescribe exercise, so it's coming with the doctor's seal of approval there. So let's get started with our deeper look. Look at all that. Oh, there's so much to get through. Mindful movement. Don't worry, there's a lot of pictures And some of this is repeat information as well, so I won't read it over and over and over again. What is mindful movement? Oh, I'm just going to shuffle around in my chair there. Just shuffling around in my chair. But am I doing it mindfully? Am I doing it properly? The principles of mindful movement are the same as any other mindfulness practice. We aim to bring our full attention to the present moment to experience the here and now. We bring our awareness to our movement and focus on our breath, the way our body feels as it moves. When our mind wanders, we bring our attention back to the practice, to our breath, to our body. So there's 4 types of mindful movement listed here. There's breathing exercises. They're different from when we observe our breath at rest. Instead, we connect with our body by purposefully elongating our breaths to calm our parasympathetic. Just chill, I'll get it. Breathing exercises are different from when we observe our breath at rest during seated meditation. Instead, we connect with our body by purposefully elongating our breath to calm our parasympathetic nervous system, or shorten our breaths for short periods of time to refresh and refocus. So breathing is like done deliberately, not just like, oh, I'm breathing, oh, I check it, oh, I'm meditating, oh. But deliberately taking a deep breath. There are exercises. There are, trust. A walking meditation can be a simple and effective way to explore mindful movement. Oh, this is what it is, isn't it? How to walk properly. The biggest difference between walking meditation and going for a walk is that when we're practicing meditation, we're not aiming to go anywhere. Well, that's going to be surprising when we alight from our meditative mood and realise that we've actually got somewhere, because walking will take you places. I'll guarantee you that. Walking will take you places. But instead, what we're trying to do is we're trying to slowly bring out our full awareness to the act of walking. That can look like focusing on our breath, or feeling the ground beneath our feet as one step turns into the next. When our mind wanders, we bring it back to the sensations of the movement. It might be, I'm not going to suggest you go around walking barefoot, unless you know the area and you know there's no sharps littered on the ground. Of our human ancestors, they did often walk around barefoot, I imagine, but then they didn't also litter the ground with plastics and other kinds of oils and rubbish. So far be it from me to suggest that you should walk around barefoot in your local environment. But if you do know the lay of the land, maybe walking around barefoot is a key in this, to be able to focus and feel more of what's happening when you're walking. But I'm not going to suggest it yet, just in case. Number 3, stretching and yoga can help us release tension, stiffness and heavy emotions. When our bodies don't move, they don't feel good, and neither do our minds. Taking a moment to let go of the day's distractions, getting away from the desk or couch, and engaging in gentle movement can help us boost our energy, focus and resilience. So stretching and yoga, that's going to be on the list today, but I'm not going to focus on it too much because, again, I'm not going to be doing any squeaky cow over there. Barefoot beach walking. Yeah, you see, barefoot beach walking sounds nice. It's probably in the right environment. Being barefoot is good, but don't say that Scotty said to go out barefoot and then go and tread on a nail. If you're looking to blow off steam, working out is another opportunity for mindfulness. Getting exercise can be a great way to tune into our body, synchronise our breath and be in the moment, all while building strength and nourishing our muscles. That's cool, isn't it? That's cool. Where's me things? My desk is littered. Where's my things? I've got one of these. It's not just some strange strap, is it? It's one of those stretchy ones, isn't it? Oh, look, tough. Oh, look at that, I'm tough. Oh, stretchy. Got that for when I'm editing now. So I'm doing some physical in between the sitting around. An opportunity to workout, but also maybe an opportunity for mindfulness. So we'll look into that a bit more. The benefits of mindful movement, and this is where, again, we're going to sort of repeat some stuff maybe that we talk about in mindfulness generally, but it also talks definitively about the body as well. It helps to nourish our body by stretching, strengthening and toning, and paying attention and bringing awareness to how our body feels. But we can also use movement to elevate our emotional wellness. When we move our body and adjust the postures in which we hold our body, we also shift the activity of our autonomic nervous system, which influences reactions like our heart rate, blood pressure, and fight or flight response. This means that mindful movement can give us access to shift our emotions and moods from the outside in. So that's really good, isn't it? Because sometimes you might be feeling these things, the heart rate, the blood pressure, the fight or flight response, the anxiety, and learning a mindful movement exercise might give you a way to physically kick those emotions out into a different place, to accelerate the wave process, to allow it to dissipate quicker, to shift your thinking. The way we think is influenced by the way we feel, is influenced by what we do. So this is one of these things that we can do that influence the way we feel, which influences the way we think. That's pretty cool. And certainly, whether... Should I click the... I'll click it, go on. There you go, look, it's another article on the same website, so it's not a study. It's not a study. But there is probably something linked to that. But what I was going to say was, clearly, we know that if you slouch a lot, you feel closed in, shut down. It's not just your body language that people read from you, but it's also the way you physically coach yourself into feeling mentally through your body language, and that sitting up and having good posture and being open to the world, taking open body language positions, helps you to engage more with people. So that's good, isn't it? That's true as well. Resilience expert and author Linda Graham writes about how mind-body awareness can be a source of power and assurance in moments of self-doubt. And it can start with something as simple as the way we sit or stand. There is a study. I knew there was a study. I did know. I just didn't know which link it was. A study in the European Journal of Social Psychology found that when we hold our body in an upright, open position with our head held high, that's just what I said. Practicing yoga can also increase self-esteem. A study found that working in open and expansive postures can increase the subjective sense of being energetic, empowered, and in control. So it's physical things that actually take on a powerful mental benefit. How to make mindful movement mindful. I can't even do the titles. How to make movement mindful. Mindful movement. Stress release. This is what we're doing, yeah. Mindful movement can be a great way to switch up your mindfulness practice if you want to try an alternative to seated meditation. Oh, I'm sat down. Oh, I can't do it. Oh, dear. You might still be able to do it in seated positions, I'm sure. It can also be an access point to mindful practice for people who don't like to sit still. You can bring mindfulness to any workout or walk simply by being with your body as you move. Leave the headphones at home and try to bring your awareness to what you're doing as you do it. If distracting thoughts arise, redirect your attention to your breath or your body. You might even find that you enjoy your workout more when you bring mindfulness to your practice. So you see, when you're in a long yoga pose, you have time to think. That's good. You're not supposed to be thinking. You're supposed to think about nothing. That's hard. But here, in the mindful movement already, I'm bringing something up. Look, leave the headphones at home. If distracting thoughts arise, redirect your attention to your breath or your body. Now, I don't listen to a lot of music anymore on the walk because I'm trying to pay attention to my dog. But I'm definitely paying attention to all the stuff around me on the walk. Is that a deer? I've seen a rabbit. What kind of trees are these? This is where the cloud's coming over. Where's me doggy? I'm always paying attention to all that other stuff. You're thinking about how you don't want to fall. I did fall. The last log walk in the woods that I went on yesterday, I slipped. It was quite muddy up a little embankment, and I went up there and I thought, this is a slippy bugger. Someone's going to fall in that. And then on the way back down, I was holding. I was hotter then, so I'd taken my jacket off and I was holding it. And I went to slide, and as I was sliding, oh no, I'm falling. I just thought to myself, don't ruin your clothes. Don't ruin your clothes. Don't fall in your clothes. And so it must have been part of my psychology, just thinking about the jacket. The jacket went down. I just stamped on it, so it stopped me from falling. Got myself some purchase on the slippy ground, but unfortunately had ruined the clothes. So I had to pick that up. The dog was looking at me like, "What's Daddy doing? Doesn't he like his clothes?" No, yeah, slipping in the mud. I always fall over. I always fall over. But it's all right because it's only down there. It's just that far. It's only in the mud, soft mud. You might even find you enjoy your workout even more when you bring mindfulness to your practice. But I'm doing it wrong. I'm walking the dog wrong. I'm not. I'm just all those distracting thoughts. The other day we saw 2 deer. The dog was pelting after them. He's never going to catch them. Lovely to see the deer. Lovely to see the deer. Distracting me. I should be thinking about my body. Shouldn't I? Now I would say the hypochondriac in me, when I focus on my body too much, sometimes it's like, is that my heart beating normally or am I having a heart attack? Like that goes on. So mindfulness, not being distracted by these other thoughts that you might pick up when you start feeling your natural movement body. But yeah, we're not supposed to be having our headphones on, listening to this. You're not supposed to be listening to me shuffle on. I'd ignore that. I'd listen to me. I wouldn't worry about that. I'd listen to me. Mindful movement meditation. All the M's. We've got all the M's going now. Any activity can work for mindful meditation. You can find anchors for your attention in the motions. Maybe it's the point where your right hand enters the water while you swim, or the contact of your feet on the pavement as you run. They're both repetitive movements, aren't they? So I see what they're getting there. Right. Finding the anchor for your attention. Footstep, 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 footstep. Yeah, I get that. Weightlifters might use the up and down repetition of a barbell, or you could stick with the one anchor that's always available to you, your breath. Notice as it quickens or slows, and return it to whenever you find your mind drifting to a thought about that text message you forgot to answer or the milk you accidentally left on the countertop. Harmonising your mind and body is powerful. You're making strides, figuratively and literally, for your physical and mental health. With that reward potential, a sweaty mindfulness session might be easier to put permanently on the calendar. That's interesting, isn't it? That is interesting. By making it into a physical thing, by turning your practice, the thing you're doing to improve your mental health, the thing that is hard to visualize as a physical thing. You know, I'm going to do some thinking for an hour. What does that look like? By incorporating it into a physical activity, a mindful mental health physical exercise session, then at the end you can see that I've worked out this much, and at the same time I can't see the mind balance, but I must have been doing a similar sort of workout. You know, you get a physical representation of the work you're doing mentally. I think that's pretty cool. That's a really cool idea. 8 ways we love a list. Don't you love a list? Don't you love a list? If you're going to do some writing for your little magazine on your internet, if you're going to do some writing, stick the lists in. The computer automatically, once you've done one point dot, the computer automatically lines up number 2 now, doesn't it? Automatic. You don't even have to get Mr. Clippy out anymore. Mr. Clippy, I'm writing a list. No, don't worry, mate. You don't even have to see my face. Just the number 2 is going to pop out. And if you didn't want a number 2, don't worry, we can just delete it. But what if you wanted like 1, 3, 7? You're in trouble. You've got to stick to the 1, 2, 3. We don't want you doing 1, 3, 7s. But I wanted a different. I wasn't doing a list in your. I was doing a sort of picking out of some. It doesn't matter what I wanted it for. Just can I not do it? No. 1 plus 2, 3. That's how we're going. That's how we're going. I should try that instead of thinking about the doggy completely empty. Yeah. Is the doggy completely empty? I should try that instead of thinking about, is the doggy completely empty? Tell you what, my doggy's not completely empty. He went on a car ride today and he thought he was going to the woods, but he wasn't. And then when we got back, he was like, why am I not going to the woods? So when he went around the block, he's like, I'm not going. I'm waiting for my woods. I was like, you should go because you're going to need to. It's a constant worry. Pause and consider your purpose. Remember what what you want to meditate is you train your brain to focus and to sustain attention. Are you trying to navigate emotions? Consider your intention for exercise too. Do you want to live longer and have more energy? Is that what? No, okay. This twofold motivation. I suppose, yeah, being healthier makes you live longer, doesn't it? I get what they mean there. Sorry. I thought it was like some kind of secret to longer life. It might be. This twofold motivation can help you get up and out and to keep you going. So you've got to be able to bring that back, refocus, pause, and consider your purpose. I suppose pause is an interesting one, isn't it? Because part of this, yeah, the doggy was cheated. He wasn't though, and he gets a lot of walks. He got a walk. He just didn't get the walk he wanted. He's getting woods. He's getting. If it's not woods, it's not goods. But yeah, you've got to be able to refocus. And I don't know about pause. I suppose you do want to pause, don't you? You do want to pause. But when you're doing your exercise, maybe you don't always pause, do you? Maybe it's part of the exercise is to not pause. But being able to mentally refocus and what are we doing here? What's the point of this? Remember that this is for the good. This is for the good, you know? Being able to refocus on that target and goal, keep you going. Number 2, unplug. Unplug. To meditate during exercise, don't listen to your favourite playlist, except if it's me. Listen to me. I've got a playlist. I've got several. Talk on the phone. Don't talk on it. Don't read a magazine or watch TV. I don't know how. What? How are you going to read a magazine? Chuffing running and reading a magazine. Fuffing chuffer. Some people must be much more fit than me. Reading a magazine. But don't. And if you're listening to this, do. It's confusing, I know, but you can't exercise without musical podcast, you see. But this one's just for you then, isn't it? This one's just for you. Number 2, unplug. You're going to have to try it one of these days. You're going to have to give it a mentally focused. You don't have to. You don't have to. But this is what they're talking about, is being fully present where you are, focusing on the now, feeling the feelings. In the woods, on the sidewalk or on the treadmill, must be America. In the UK we call it a pavement. I think some people have called it a sidewalk in my experience. A footpath. Footpath we call it sometimes in the West Midlands, a footpath. I would argue that Mental Health Monday stream makes me slow my thoughts. See, that's alright. That's alright, but me chipping on while you're trying to focus on your own physical. They're saying no. They're saying no. I'm saying it's alright. I'm not a doctor. But I've got a bit of a vested interest. Tap in to the body sensations. Bring your attention to your physical experience. That's a bit of a repeat to number 1. Are there any parts of your body working extra hard? Does your body feel different today than it did yesterday? Interesting. Could do the old... there's a meditation or mindful meditation, like the body scan, where you sort of go from head to toe, just sort of like, okay, eyes, check, nose, smelling, check, mouth, gibbling away, chuffling away, check, ears, can hear myself chuffling, check, doing that. Yeah, start trying, eating sneaking a bit of a cake, a sneaky bit of cake there. Nobody saw. Use your breath as a cue to challenge yourself, or challenge yourself more, or ease up as necessary. That's interesting. That's interesting. If your mind wanders, noticing a new for sale sign in the neighbourhood, then notice the thought and reconnect with your breath. That's the repeat. Observe the tempo of your breath as you work harder and you cool down. That's interesting. Sometimes when we're exercising, we've got goals in mind. We've got like aims and, might want to push extra hard for the final 10 seconds, minutes. You might be doing I don't know what I'm trying to think of. It's like a circle and it's a route. You might have your route planned out and you might have said to yourself, I'm going to work extra hard in that last bit, sprint home, finish. But by observing the tempo of your breath and how hard you're working, you might find that you are inadvertently working harder in different parts. You might find that your technique for your exercise might improve, and you might be able to ease up or challenge yourself more, as it literally says, by observing. You might say, oh, actually, look, turns out I can do more here. Or I'm actually finding this first bit a little bit harder than I thought I was going to. Yeah. That's interesting. Play with different anchors of attention. Experiment with different attentional focus points other than your breath. Each full rotation of your bike pedals, the up and down of a lunge. You can switch anchors as you vary your exercise, but stay focused on the rhythm of your anchor, returning to it when your mind wanders. That's interesting. I like to do chuffing punching. And I'm a YouTuber, so maybe I should have had a big row with somebody and got myself into one of those YouTube boxing matches. Maybe I could take on Jake Paul. I'm probably not popular enough for him, am I? He's taking on Mayweather, who's going to chuff his face in for him. One of them is douche, douche, puff, puff. But yeah, stay focused on the rhythm. So with that, there's a rhythm to like the jab, jab, uppercut, duck. There's like these little what do you call them? Little routines. Little. You've seen them in the training, haven't you? With the pads going doof, 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 oosh, 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 pop, pop, pop. So a little rhythm, isn't there? So you can get back focused into it. Feel the. This is something I was going to get onto a bit later with sport, but might as well chuffle on about it now because the kilobytes took a dip. They didn't like the violence. You always relate to this neighbourhood sales sites. That's not. He's supposed to. It's distracting, not distracting. But what I was going to say was in fencing. Oh, whoa, don't take a bit rate crash. Come on, you kilobytes. Is it this window? Is it this window that's not? Do you not like this window with the football? Because that's been open for a while, to be fair. We're on this window here, aren't we? Did the switching windows help? It did a little bit, didn't it? It did a little bit. So with fencing, and same thing with boxing, is that probably boxing is easier to relate to for everyone, is that there's like a perfect way to do the punch. There's a big face. There's like a perfect way to do it. Like, you want you twist as you move. You don't want your arm moving forward like that and then twist at the end. You twist as you move. There's like a form. It's like, we'll talk about Tai Chi at the end, and yoga. There's like a perfect form, isn't there? This is with fencing. There was a perfect way to stand and like do a really good fencing step, like a movement footwork step, and hit to head. You extend to the head. Like these things are not practiced by practicing over and over as fast as you can. Like get that. Like punch. You actually practice by doing it really slowly and carefully, and feeling the exact correct, the right way to do it, feeling what it feels like for your muscles to move in that way, and then speeding it up and practicing it till it becomes muscle memory. Same thing as when you're playing on your old computer game, playing the old computer game there, are you, son? Well, you're playing the old computer game there. Are you winning, son? Yeah. Hi, Capital K. Nice to see you. Yeah, I hope you're feeling good. I hope we're all feeling good, to be honest. We all need it, don't we? A bit of feeling good. So on the old computer games, it's the same thing. Muscle memory. It's only your thumbs. But it's important, isn't it? It's how you are. When you're on the old PC Master Race, it's more than your thumbs, isn't it? You can do that with your hand. And VR, but it's all perfect movement, isn't it? You practice that perfect movement, and then when the thing kicks off in reality, when you're actually in the situation, you're not then thinking, how do I perfectly land that punch there? It just happens. Bam, bam, douche, bam. So perfect examples there of playing with different anchors of attention, staying focused on the rhythm of your anchor and returning to it when your mind wanders. We didn't often practice trying to make things happen really fast. We wanted to do the perfect motion. So if you're getting into it and you're just, having fun punching that punch bag, and you're exercising, and then you think, oh, hang on, back to mindfulness. Let's get a really crisp jab and a really solid uppercut, you know? Let's really, really do those perfect things. Practice makes perfect and practice makes permanent. You're having your little chat in the chat there. You're having a little chat. That's right. You have your own little chat. That's fine. That's fine. You have a little chat. Sending love out to capital K. And just call me Snips. The Ganji Puka Warriors here. Note your surroundings. Look, you see, this is me all over. Get back to what you're doing. Focus on your thing. Note your surroundings. There are two aspects of directing attention: focused attention and open awareness. And how can you practice both while exercising? To tap into the latter, check out what's around you. Oh, so you are allowed to do that. You are allowed to do that. Good, because I thought that was good mindfulness practice. I thought I was walking wrong. I thought I was walking wrong by checking out what was around me. I thought I was doing it wrong. I thought that, you know, I was... in terms of mindfulness, I thought I was onto a bit of a wrong in there. But it was important because you need to know where you're going. You need to watch out. Oh, is that the road? Oh, careful. You know, you need to watch out. 2 meters apart. Oh, I can come in the shop now. You need to keep careful. So, but you are allowed to check out what's around you, the temperature of the air, what you're hearing. That's all mindfulness too. So that's good. You're allowed to do that, and then get back to focusing on your own physical feelings and your breathing and your rhythm. Renew your resolve, burning hamstrings and all. One of the aptitudes of mindfulness. Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one for exercise, isn't it? I'm going to pray, see. I'm not going to read their exact words. I'm going to pray, see. When it gets tough, the going get. You know that song, don't you? The going when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Yeah, that's what they say, isn't it? When the going gets tough, the tough get... Yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? It doesn't mean they chuffle off. Oh, fuck this, it's chuffing. This is tough, I'm going. That's not what they mean. What they mean is you toughen up your resolve and you grit your teeth and you think, this is going to be a little bit tough, but I'm going to get through this. That's what you think, isn't it? And one of the attitudes of mindfulness, they say, is acceptance. Okay, it hurts a little bit. Okay, it's a little bit sore. You know, okay, I'm pushing myself here. That's what we're doing. That's the exercise. That's the point of the exercise. Okay. I don't have to jack yet. I'm not ready to quit yet. I can just push. I can push. Listen to the pain. Okay. Well, you know, just call us Snips here is the. I'm gonna go and say he's the much more expert on certain aspects of regular exercise than me. But yeah, you should listen to the pain, absolutely. And that could be the mindfulness too, can't it? You can feel the pain in your body. But what they're saying here is that it gives you the opportunity, again, you feel the physical thing. And I guess this is really, how do I get into this? How do I get into this? I just sort of say these things and hope they come out properly. I think this is part of, what you get is you get a pain and you get to control it and you get to work through it and you get to feel the achievement by having worked through the pain. And isn't that part of what the depression journey, the waves, isn't that part of what this is as well? They were talking earlier about using exercise and mindfulness together means that you get to physically see, oh, I'm tired at the end of this exercise, oh, I've got my lap time better. I must also be improving mentally because I've worked hard there too. You know, it gives you a physical representation that you can sort of put the two together and say, oh, you know, I can see a physical return here, so I can imagine a physical return in something that I cannot see. You know, it gives you something to point at, a bit of a thing there. And being able to work through the pain. I was also going to say that when people self-harm, I guess, you know, there's a form of pain there that they're creating, that they're working through, that they're being able to control. So maybe this is a much more healthy, maybe exercise, pain, you know, no pain, no gain, a few extra pushes on the old machine. I'm saying that. I am not at the gym pushing the old machine. The only machine I'd push is the one with all the chocolates and the crisps in it, when the potato chips, when it hasn't given me my money, and it's got a sticker on it and it says "Do not push, can topple and kill." And you just think, you know, I'm going to risk it for my fucking chips because I paid for them. I've paid for them. You know, give me my fucking chips. Might kill me. Might kill me. Yeah, but you know, you've had my fucking money. Do not push the top of the machine. Call the people. It's got a number. Call the people. You call them up, and it's like 9 o'clock in the evening on a weekday, and they're just like, "Hello, what?" Well, of course we don't care. No, no, no. This number is just set up so we can have a laugh. Hey, Boris. Someone else has lost their money in the machine again. They're calling us up. Yeah, they tried pushing it. I told them it'd kill them. You know. I hung up my own hand there. I tried to fold it over like an old flip phone, but my hand doesn't fold that way. Yeah. Well, thank you for my bits. No, I'm not at the gym. I'm not at the gym. I'm not at the gym. I don't like it. It scares me. It scares me. There's a whole other layer of social anxiety to get through in order to perform at the gym. 5 crisps, thanks. That's so I don't have to call up Boris. I could just go in a shop with my mask on and my gloves and my hand sanitizer. I took my hand sanitizer in my pocket the other day and didn't put the lid on properly, and it went all over in my pocket. All my pocket was all gooey with hand sanitizer. My leg was really cold, but I did think to myself, that's probably a really clean pocket now, isn't it? Probably a really clean pocket. So I'm quite happy with one aspect of that. And yeah, we'll get some chips. We'll get some chips. Wait, quick, what's going on? Look, we're supposed to be exercising and mindfulness. Got loads of stuff to get through today. As always. Exercise kindness. What? Notice the quality of your thinking during workouts. Can you appreciate your current ability, speed, and endurance just as they are? If you work out in an in-person or virtual group, can you let go of the comparing mind and instead just thank yourself for showing up for this healthy activity? Oh, isn't that nice? I thought I would find that really difficult. Part of I did used to go to fencing training on and off just as an adult, you know, just to keep fit occasionally. And I remember once one of the coaches, a Hungarian coach, was like, you know, you've got a really good work ethic for this. And I was like, yeah, I used to do a lot of it. And, you know, I got the work ethic when I was younger. So, but what was happening is, you know, I'd like be pushing myself to the extreme. And it's just a Wednesday afternoon. It's not a big, you know, just some fellas just turned up out of the blue just to push himself to the absolute extreme once in a while. Just the guy was like, you know, you've got a good work ethic for this, meaning like, I don't know what really he meant in a way, but yeah, just to absolutely see if I've still got it, you know, see how far I can still. We used to do things like the bleep test and the hang bar test, you know, when the Marines want to find out how many pull-ups they can do and all that stuff. Can we do a mental health Monday fencing instruction? Yeah, we should. There was a psychological coach at our club, and that's what introduced me to psychology in that first instance. A guy called Jonathan Katz, really interesting guy. I bought a lightsaber and I can't use it. Very dangerous, the old lightsaber, but I could teach you to use it, yeah. Dovahkiin. That's the wrong franchise. Yeah, but you can thank yourself. I couldn't just thank myself for showing up. I couldn't just do that. I wanted to push it. I wanted to see how far I could go. And if there is a competitive aspect, I understand if I'm not the best, that's okay. But I'd still want to compete and find out where I was on that ladder. You know, that's what got me so addicted to Hearthstone. So, yeah, exercise kindness. Say to yourself, look, you're here, you're doing the work. That's big ticks. You're focusing on your mental, you're focusing on your physical. You've been eating well, you're going to have a nice smoothie, not a whoopie burger on the way home. And you're going to be fine, and it's going to be good. So don't worry if you're not the quickest on the old treadmill. Don't worry if you know, you're not super fit, bouncing off can't get up the rope. And it doesn't. That's not the aim here. I don't have to go to the Olympics anymore. Are you saying exercise and counts as exercise? Yeah, probably. You can tick that one off. I did 20 minutes being nice today, so that's burned a few calories. Probably does actually, doesn't it? Probably just, you know, probably just they'll find out one of these days that being nice helps make you more healthy, probably. But yeah, we've been doing it wrong. I've been running around, I've been walking around pushing people out of the way in the exercise. I've been at the yoga class yanking people's mats out. Yeah. Have a bit of that, you fucking chuffer. That's what I've been doing. But no, I should have been kind, not just to other people, to myself as well. To myself. Yeah, in the old fencing, what we used to do is have these tests. So we literally would compare ourselves not just to our own scores, but to each other. And once every 4 weeks, once a month, is it 4 weeks? Yeah, I think it was something once every month, maybe once every 2 months. There was like a rolling rota of it, and it would be, you'd know who would turn up and who wouldn't turn up to club on fitness test day, you know. And I would definitely have to be there because I'd need to know. And the bleep test was the worst. The hang, but we do the Marines things, you know, like how many pull-ups you can do and all that business. Hanging on a bar was just how often chuffing long can you hang on this bar? But the bleep test, because it gets faster. Doesn't it? It gets faster. So you run up to the end of the hall, bleep, and then you run back to the other end, bleep, and you're just trying to keep up with this bleep, bleep, and at the start you can keep up easy, bleep, bleep, oh, I'm just jogging, and then it's bleep, 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 and it's getting faster, and you're like, fucking chuff this, I'm already tired. Are those Limmy's arms? Are those Limmy's arms in chat? Are those Limmy's arms? I wonder, are those Limmy's arms? And is that Byron? Is that Reckful, that third one? I don't know. Is that Byron? It looks like him, doesn't it? It could be Limmy's arms. Limmy's arms are like that. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're just arms. But yeah, like it would just be so. It was like a form of torture. It felt like sometimes, but it was fitness training, wasn't it? It was self-imposed torture because I wanted to keep going. I didn't want to stop because it was getting faster. But yeah, maybe I could have just said to myself, whoa. Hang on a minute, look, you are reaching extreme point here. Let's just, you know, say that's our score for today, and well done. You know, well done. Maybe that should have been my approach. Because when you reach that, you're all looking at, there's always somebody else running, isn't there? And you're thinking, oh, you chuffer, if I drop out, then you're still running, you chuffer. But you know, that's the life, isn't it? There's loads of people having a good run. I just use the emotes, no idea what they mean. Well, I don't either. So but that green third one there, Turks Cheers. Oh, it says on it. I can read what it says. Turks Cheers. So maybe it's not Byron. Maybe it's just something else. I don't know. Hassan Abi's arms. Oh, Hass. Right, yeah. Oh, and mine are going to say Ganjik. I've looked into that. They're going to say Ganjik. I wanted them to just say Ganji, but they're not going to say Ganjik with the K because that's how they shorten it. So then they'll have to be Ganji, and we're going to have to. This is another conversation. This is another conversation entirely, but I've been thinking, you know, Ganji kindness, because Ganji kind, Ganji cool, Ganji is with the K. Anyway, exercising kindness, guided meditation, mindful movement, mindful meditation practices, nourish your spine, dynamic mountain. Here we go. These are the ones you're going to want me to do. You can watch them on YouTube. Don't carry on watching me. It's fine. To start, separate your feet. Inhale and reach both your arms out to the sides and down. Look, doing a skier stretch, sway sideways. Or I'll tell you what I do, what I love doing, because the dog likes it. And I'm not doing these. I'm not standing up in the corner and doing them. It's silly. It's silly. You understand what these look like. I'm going to just skip over these. That's for another stream. But for the dog, what I like to do, and I can do it gently here, is I like to just go back and forth like this. Look. And just gently going back and forth like that. And it's not so effective on your own, but if you've got a bunch of people doing it, it looks quite effective. There's a little song that goes with it, and it's like, ooh, 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 like that. And the dog loves it. No, I'm just on a chair. Got a big old comfy cushion on the chair that I cut out of an old mattress. So bits of this foam off an old mattress. So that's what your money buys you. It's comfy though, comfy. Just don't show anyone. Now that the COVID's over, well, it's not over, but we're allowed people around the house again now, as of today. So now that the COVID's over, oh God, it's not over. But now that they're coming around the house, which they're not, there's no one coming around my house, but they should be, because we want to do interviews in this room with people and podcast things, don't we, and improve the quality of the stream. So now that that's happening, I'm going to have to, someone's going to see my cushion. I've just shown you the cushion. That was on the internet. Maybe I should have done that. It's worse than Asmongold's. I promise you, Asmongold's got better cushions. Thanks for the bits. You will be disappointed when I keep this cushion for as long as possible and actually use the bits towards the big computer that we're trying to buy. But thank you. I really appreciate it. And I've got to find a way of getting the bits to appear on the screen. I've got a thing from... I'm just talking now. We'll get on with the mental health in a second. That ContraPoints, she's brilliant. And there's a bit in one of her videos where she goes, we stan, like that. And it made me think of when Capital K put we stan in chat a few times. And secretly had to go and look it up. So I was like, I'm sure it's internet for we think it's good, but like how and why, and like it turns out because of Eminem, but she did it in one of her videos, and so I was going to get that little clip of her doing it, saying we stan. So Eminem did a song called Stan, and it was about a fan, and the fan was like, obsessed, and so to stan something is to be obsessively fan oriented, to really like it to the point of standing outside, with your autograph book in the rain. So stanning things, and then ContraPoints has put this little bit of stan, but it's obviously I'm just ripping her. It's her. It's not mine. I better ask her. I'm going to ask her, but I really want that. That's what I really want for when the bits and the subs and I want it to go, oh, we stan, and it to be ContraPoints, because I love ContraPoints. So, hey, that's me. Oh yeah, it's fine to be doing that. It's fine to be doing that, as long as it's as long as it's healthy and mindful, and you're in the downhill skier position, you should be fine. But standing twists and this sort of thing, you get it, don't you? You stand up, you move around, you do the things, and there's movement practices, and they've got the YouTubes, and most of them are going to have a lot of this inhale and exhale as the main. Inhale, look, number 2, number 4 is exhale, number 6 is inhale again, number 7, exhale, number 8, inhale, number 13, inhale, number 15, inhale. Now you're getting really full. Moving on to cat-cow, you can exhale at your leisure. And there's these as well, aren't there? The cat-cow, the deep lunge, I'm from the deep side. I'll tell you what, I'll tell you a little story. The deep lunge. I'll tell you a little story. I watched Little Nicky. We teased me about having only watched the Blair Witch Project at the cinema. They've opened the cinemas now in our country again, and I actually feel like I want to support the movie industry, despite it being absolutely full of overpaid shit. I swore. Sorry about the. I'll have to oops that one out. But I really need to support those millionaires in their gold houses. But I do like the old films, don't I? I like the old films, and I'd like to go to the cinema. So it's open again. Maybe I might. But I hadn't been since the Blair Witch Project, so maybe I won't. But yeah, we were teasing me about that, and then so what I did at the weekend is I'll watch a film. There's going to quite a lot available now, aren't there? The old films, quite a lot of them now. So many that they're remaking the old ones, so that you've got 2 versions of the same film. 2 of the same film. So there's a lot of them, and I really enjoy them. So and then what happened was Little Nicky with Adam Sandler came on the telly. It was just come on the telly. I was nearly bedtime, sat there with the doggy, and it just come on, and I was just like, well, chuff it then. We'll watch that. Little Nicky with Adam Sandler. Little Nicky with Adam Sandler. I was crying. About 40 minutes. Was it? Probably about 40 minutes in, I started crying. Oh God, it got me on that. And then later on in the film, I pulled myself together. I was like, why are you crying over Little Nicky? Films make me, art, emotive films, they make me feel emotional, and that's good. That's fine. That's good. I like to work through emotions. That's fine. But I was crying at Little Nicky. And then, because he's a good little boy, little Nicky. And then in the film, there's a moment where they call back to Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore. So theoretically, this film's in the same universe as Happy Gilmore. And one of the characters, Tubbs from Happy Gilmore, he's in heaven. Don't want to give away. It's the film's 22 years old now, so maybe I don't have to worry about spoilers. But he's in the heaven, and he's got his hand back. And if you hadn't seen Happy Gilmore, you wouldn't know who this character was. It's a little callback. It's a little clever. The film's full of these little cameos and little callbacks, little pointers, little nods. Rodney Dangerfield's in it 4 years before he died, and so I was just like, all the time when I saw Tubbs, I was like, it's Tubbs from heaven, he's in heaven. And then they were like, it's all in the hips. So I was like, it's all in the hips. It's all in the hips. Yeah, so Little Nicky, a film about good overcoming evil and doing good things. And I thought it was just going to be trite nonsense. I thought I was going to sit down and be like, oh, I can rip Adam Sandler for half an hour and then change the channel. Brilliant, let's have a go at that. But no, caught me right in the feels. Yeah, so there's that. They did some crying on the Blair Witch, and I was crying over Little Nicky. There's my story. Deep lunge. Oh, that's why, because in the film, he does a joke about being from the deep south, meaning hell, deep south. And I was going to do my Little Nicky impression, talking out the side of my mouth. But yeah, so that's the deep lunge. You could do the deep lunge. Knee to chest into twist. And these are all about doing them lying down to ease into sleep. So maybe we'll make an ASMR video about that, because you shouldn't be doing it without ASMR being involved if you're going to sleep. You should be... What is this webpage all about, sending you out? How far should I walk? That's a good question. It depends where you want to go, doesn't it? It depends where you want to go. How far should you walk? I don't know. How long are your legs? I can appease the masses with the ASMR, I can, but it's just a big labour, a large amount of labour, without the same excitement behind it from my end. You know, the landscape has changed now, hasn't it? It's not something like, yeah. But we could, and I've got to get that camera moved over there and set it up. Yeah, we'll do it. How far is the donut shop? How far should I walk? What kind of whoopie burger am I going to get when I get there? Walking meditation could be formal practice, or it could be informal. Whether moving between floors of a building, a city street, or the woods, it's an opportunity to guide ourselves. Look, that's repeating it, isn't it? It's best to minimise opportunities for self-distraction. The route you choose to walk doesn't have to be long. You can even walk it on a lane. 10 paces one way, 10 paces the other would be fine. In any event, it's not a sightseeing tour, although you are allowed to look around. Oh dear. How far should you walk? How fast should you walk? You're doing it wrong. Have you been walking too fast? Have you been walking too slow? Which one have you been doing? Because either way, I'm pretty sure that they're going to want you to walk in a sort of medium pace. Let's have a look. Let's find out. Walking meditation can be practiced at any number of different speeds. Oh, it's up to you. That gives lots of applications in daily living. We can go from mindful walking to mindful running, a wonderful practice in its own right. There, of course, we abandon the lane, as we certainly go for long distance and faster formal walks. Yeah, so how far should you walk depends on how fast you're going to go. It's all relative, isn't it? It's all relative. Basic walking meditation. You see, we've done this, haven't we? We've talked about this now, and they're repeating it. Checking your muscles, looking at your pulse. You can check this out. Adding words. A great way to focus your attention is to bring words or phrases to your steps. You can count in rhythm with your steps. Do you know what? We actually used to do this, and they do it in boxing and all sorts of sports, I'm sure. There was an intonation to the movement, and learning to move in rhythm taught you to do the things. But there was a negative to that as well, which is that when you're fighting, you don't want someone to learn your rhythm because they can break it and beat you. So once you learned rhythm, you then had to learn how to counter time your own rhythm. So that was really interesting stuff. But the basic premise was a step is bop bop, one foot then the other, bop bop, bop bop, you know, little steps. But what about we used to a balestra, up bop, a little like jump step, little hop bop, and then with your hitting movement, like parry, bop, bop, parry is always followed by a riposte. There's no point in stopping someone from hitting you if you're not going to hit them back. Is there? So up bop, bop bop, up bop, and like you can same with the boxing. They're like bop 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 bop, and like they make the noise themselves, or the coach does like up bop bop, and then you know you maybe it's just noises for me in my head. Maybe in my head I've just got these cartoon noises going on. But it's you get this rhythm to exercise, don't you? If it's running, it's, you know, it's different, isn't it? But there is a rhythm to what you're doing. And so if your mind wanders off, you can pull it back to, if you used words like 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, you can pull it back to it, can't you? That's quite interesting. You could say thank you to send gratitude or compassion to your feet as you move. Thank you. Thank you, foot. Thank you, left foot. Then a kick jab. Pow. Yeah. Kapow. See, kapow, that's words, isn't it? Kapow. Kapow. It's got a lot of onomatopoeia in it, a lot of impact, hasn't it? Kapow. And saying thank you to you. There was a film called Four Lions, and in that, the concept, the guy says, he's talking about running, and he says, do you ever think that your one leg just is better at running than your other leg? And he just thinks his right leg wants it more. His left leg's a bit lazy. But yeah, you can thank one of your legs, or both of them, or neither of them. You might enjoy repeating the following phrases. Okay, so this is something I'm going to pause on and alight on and just mention as well. I don't know if it is necessarily a good idea. If you are trying to improve your mental health, to get locked into one mantra or physical routine. It might end up looking to the outside world like some sort of obsessive compulsive behaviour, and it might lead you into something that's obsessively compulsive. Look at me going serious after we also already started having fun. But seriously, yeah, like, you know, it might be good to I sometimes rub my hands like that a little bit just to get the feeling back into them. But if I was sitting there repeating the phrase I am and I am the now and I am the da, it might make a good ASMR video, but it might make, and the end product might not be that healthy for me. So it might be good, but you've got to be mindful that you don't take it too far. Nowhere to go, nothing to do, no one to be. That sounds a bit sad. But that's what mindfulness is about sometimes, isn't it? Accepting that, you know, life is just waves. Accepting life is just waves in the big picture. You know, it's all gonna be okay. Experiment with any or all of these on your next walk, or come up with your own phrases that resonate with you next time you're out. In Absolutely Fabulous, Idina Monsoon used to say, looking good, feeling great, looking good, feeling great. And it was comedy, but when I'm out pacing, I'm always looking good, feeling great, looking good, feeling great. I hear that sometimes. I'm like, yeah, funny, makes me laugh. Sensory walking. See, now, you are allowed to keep your eyes still and watch the view change. Focus on the soles of your feet, aware of the different sensations, focusing on the sounds, the sound of your footsteps and the changing world around you, and the smell and taste in the air. You are allowed to do that. They said you weren't, but you are. You are. Body awareness. This is a repetition, isn't it? You know about arms and hips. You've got them. You've been moving them. Appreciative walking. We've heard that. Saying thank you to things, about things, noticing the beauty in the world around us. It might be a tree beginning to blossom. It might be an opportunity to fill out this article with more words. Observational walking. That's the same as the one before. As you begin, walk at a natural pace. Look. Look at that. Your gym membership is expensive. It's only an hour. You can do anything for an hour. Yeah. How long have I been doing this? Been doing this for an hour. I was trying to make Mental Health Mondays into hour-long episodes. Oh, that's your mantra. You could do anything for an hour. I see, right? You can do, it doesn't matter if you're being hung upside down and dangled over the thing with the water being sprayed on you. You could take it for an hour. Yeah, I get that. That's a good mantra. If you can see the end, and you can break down the time as well. I like to break that. I'm just going to do another 10 seconds here. Okay, I've got through that. We can do another one. By the time I thought of that, I've got through the 30 seconds. But that's a really good message as well for this, going back to the Samaritans there. If you're at crisis point ever, if you ever reach crisis point, and you've been here and you've heard this, if you ever reach crisis point, remember that at that point, when you're desperate, at your most desperate, where you're thinking about what to do, where you're not even maybe thinking, when you're most at, really upset, really, if you're at that crisis point, you've already done seconds. It might have only been seconds, but you've done seconds. Then you have to get to 10. Then you have to get to 20. Then you start to pull your shit. I swore. Then you start to pull yourself together a bit to gather your thoughts more. Because crisis point is like an explosion of those thoughts, isn't it? It's all you pull your thought. You need to be able to just take a minute to try and think. And when you're doing that, you're on the way to the 30 seconds to the minute. You're on the way up. You're helping yourself out of it. It might seem really difficult at the time. It might seem like everything's falling to pieces at the time, but it's about those incremental, if you can do it for an hour, you can do anything for an hour. You just get through this crisis moment, this hour. We'll just do it in small segments. We'll just do it in small chunks, and you'll get through them. And things might seem easier on the other side, hopefully. There's a number to call if you're in that crisis moment, but that's why I put that up about talking about that crisis moment, because that's really good mantras for that. You can do it for an hour. You can do it for 10 minutes. You might want to give up now, but do it for 10 minutes. See how you feel at the end of 10 minutes. Do another 10 minutes. You can do it. You can. You are. You will. Where am I? Yeah, here. So yeah, you're walking naturally. 30-second uphill sprint feels like a crisis. Yeah, I suppose I'll tell you something else as well. The idea that they gave us earlier about being able to link in that mental and physical exercise, being able to know that if you push yourself through that last sprint and you feel all disoriented and you've pushed yourself into a difficult space, then you can climb down from that and recover from that. And just doing these things helps you to have the resilience to recover in the future. Practicing recovery. Yeah. That was cool, isn't it? I was going to get on to talking about football. As I was going to say, I wanted to make these hour-long episodes so they're nice and neat, so that they don't cause me to have to do too much editing. No, so they work nicely as an hour's episode each time. But we're overrunning again, so that's cool. That's cool. A 10-minute guided walking meditation. Oh no, we're not going to. This is okay. At the bottom here, they put loads of other meditations, and they're all, look, walk, focus your attention. They're all the same, but different, and they're all interesting. So you can look at them and do them. And we're not going to do yoga today. I told you at the start, we're not doing it. I've often thought back at the mental health challenges when facing physical challenges. I got through that. I can get through this. So yeah, good. Anything that you have got through in the past is good fuel to remember in those dark times. And in those dark times, it's always good to remember those things that you got through. It's good to make those links. How do yoga and mindfulness work together? They work brilliantly together, I imagine, but you're not getting me on the floor over there. I'm sure that yoga is fantastic and lots of people like it, and I'm not going to teach it to you. No, look, side bends, shoulder rotation, your cow, your cat. You stand quietly. I'll do that one. Stand quietly. The stand quietly. I won't even be able to be quiet though, will I? So how am I going to do that? The stand quietly. Leg bends. Chair pose. I'm in that now. Right. Yoga stretches for a good night's sleep. You'll like them. They'll be nice. Oh look, there's even pictures. That's the end of the article. That was how to we only popped that one out by accident, that one. This is what I was going to go on to. Playing football. Playing football is good for you. It's no longer a patriarchy. Thank fuff for that. Of course, the teams are segregated. Yeah. I think maybe there will become a point. There obviously will become a point where a team wants to buy a player, or have a player in their team because they're good, and doesn't care whether they're a man or a woman. That'll happen, I suppose. But at the moment, it's still segregated, so that's bad. But on the other side, the women's game is fantastic, and watching the women's football is equally as good as the men's football, and it's given me a place that I can go and be a football supporter again. Because I've got ethical concerns with the way my club's being run by a conglomerate of business people from China. So anyhow, that's a little bit football, and this article is in The Conversation, a great website that focuses on academic studies. And they say here that, of course, it's good to do football for your mental health. There's studies about it, but the study that I read through it, and let's leave it on the picture because I've already read through it, and I'll give you the précis. People went to football club every week, all different kind of people. Some of them with depression, a lot of them, the focus was on depression. So they reported back how it made them feel and stuff like that. They went to football clubs that were specifically engaging in a program for better mental health. So it was designed with that in mind. The people that were running the club, the coaches, knew about mental health issues. So these people that had depression engaged with this. And at the end, they told them what they thought. And lo and behold, they thought it was good. It's actually a study. The people actually talked about people gaining their confidence, talking to new people. Sharing a pitch and a spirit helped to normalise their feelings, helped them to build connections to each other. There's a little video there. The programme was initially designed to be non-competitive, but the coaches recognised it might not attract players. With noting people with mental health issues are no different. I wouldn't want to get out of bed to play non-competitive football. So they're all right having a bit of competition in their club. But interesting that it's about not the some of the aspects that would come to the fore were about social interaction and social cohesion and being part of a group and being part of a team. And so that's why I was going to go on to talk a little bit about football, or any sport really of that. We could talk about this for a minute as well. The gender teams. I think I do want to. I want to, so I can get political. We should have a button, shouldn't we, when I'm about to get political? Some people say that women aren't just, not just as physically good, not just as physically strong at X, Y, Z. Therefore, it's not fair to have a mixed team because the women wouldn't get to the top rankings of these things. And to that, I explain that a lot of these sports have been designed by men with male attributes and success dynamics in mind. So being the biggest, strongest makes you good at a lot of sports in general. It's not true of everything, of course, is it? It's not true of everything. But, you think about it, who can hit... We'll go through the American sports because they're a bit more clear-cut, the big American sports. Who can hit the baseball the hardest and the farthest? It's going to be someone who's got good technique and is pretty strong, isn't it? Who can hit the baseball the hardest and farthest? Who can throw it the hardest and fastest? Who can throw it the hardest and fastest? Basically, a bit of technique, a lot of strength. It's been pointed towards that. The American football, where you line up against each other and run into it, that's who's the toughest at running into each other. That's what that's been based on. And then the throwing, isn't it? The throwing. And then the basketball, who's the tallest? Who's the biggest and tallest? And, good at the old ball skills. So there's a theme that's running through all these sports, is strength, height. But you don't have to have that as a theme. What's good about football is that the world's best player, for example, Lionel Messi, he's not the biggest, tallest footballer. He's got a different set of skills. As you say here, look, we have different skills. I'm more agile than my friends at the gym. Exactly. Some sports bring that out. Football wasn't designed by men to hold women back. Of course, that's a silly, they didn't say, oh, how can we make a sport that's really not going to help women get involved? They didn't do that. And interestingly, football is one of those sports where you can have a range of skills, and it might not be that the biggest, strongest person is always going to win the football. That's interesting. But other sports, there's quite a range of sports, aren't there? And quite a lot of them are based in strength, are based in masculine attributes, because the patriarchal society was the ones that put them together and established these as measures of success. And lo and behold, in other sports that don't have that feature as much, that can become more equal, maybe because the platform is more equal, like darts is an example. It's not how hard you throw the darts. That's not what they're measuring. And recently there was a woman in the World Championship of Darts. Now that they've stopped segregating them out, she made it to the final. But there's another problem. In order for her to be good at darts, in order for her to want to practice darts and stuff, the usual place that you might play darts is the pub. And that's a masculine environment. So it's not that every young girl is going to grow up being a darts player. It's not there's a lot of young girls playing darts. It's only one or two really, compared to the majority who don't want to hang out at the old pub with the old men throwing the old darts in the way that the boys do. So a lot of things have been established as masculine sports, and also the environment, to become a good pool player, to become a good snooker player, it might involve you ingratiating yourself in a much more male dominated environment. So it's not just the ability to play the sport, which is more equal in a thing like pool or darts, but now it's also about the environment that the sport is played in, the pub, the bar. And lo and behold, again, when you remove these things from those places, when you start to get sports that everyone enjoys in an equal setting, that are not dominated by strength as the primary attribute, where thinking, where skill, where timing, where execution, where those sort of factors come into it, lo and behold, you create a more even playing field, and it turns out women are just as good. They're just as good. So it might not be that in the who can run the fastest race out of everyone in the whole world, maybe men are more dominating statistically of that. Maybe in the future, if we took out all the sexism from society, even that would change. Maybe women would turn out to, in all, whether you're a man or woman or non-gender binary or whatever, like you get bigger, taller people and shorter people and faster people and slower people. You get people that work really hard at being fast and get really good at it, and you get people that are naturally good at it that don't even work at it and don't end up doing the races. It's just a cross-section. It's a wide spectrum. And you get more statistical likelihoods. You get, okay, at the top end of the spectrum, there are more powerful physical strength power men around. Again, it might be a symptom of society that they more often go to the gym and pump up these muscles. It might not be the way they're born. But, you get these statistical groupings. I get that. But it doesn't mean that women aren't strong and that women aren't in these groups too. So they're even in the groups that they're not supposed. Women aren't supposed to be in the strength sports. They're not designed for them. They're not supposed to be good at the darts. The environment's not designed for them. But yet they're still breaking through, and they're still achieving, not just competing, but achieving in these things. There's always been women racing drivers. That's another good example. Again, a bit of a boys' club, but school-aged mixed-gendered sports, the boys and girls need to learn to work together like they will in their careers as adults. Yeah, why should a sport? I always thought that was strange as well at school, that you had girls' sports and boys' sports, and if I wanted to play football, it was a boys' sport, and netball was a girls' sport. That I couldn't experience that other sport. Does it matter about my gender? Yeah, that was always weird. But this is the world, isn't it? I'm not fixing sexism. Doing a little bit, it's being fixed a little bit, isn't it? And what's so great about we've got sporting icons now in the fields of football or boxing that are female. So we're in a good position to push forward with this. I don't know if I want to see women compete in like like prize boxing's an example where it's prize fighting for money, and if it was head guards and scoring points and not actually hurting each other, and it was just the skill and the art, I actually believe a woman could compete quite evenly with a man. But if it becomes, you know, who can be the most brutal, maybe the prize fighting sport of boxing, I'm not campaigning get a woman in the man with the man, let's have them beat each other up. That's not what I'm saying. But on a sport where you can have an even playing field, and you know, football's a good example. I actually believe, I mean, it's obvious if you look at the women's game, if you look at women's football, because we have to segregate it, women's football, men's football. If you look at football played by women, there are women playing that game at a higher level. I used to support Birmingham through the 3rd division, the 4th division, the 3rd division, the 2nd division. I've seen us in the lower. There are women playing football that are at a higher level than some men in, you know, in different leagues. And if they were to filter them together, some men would fall down the system because they're not as good as some of the women. Some women would move up, and you'd get these mixed teams. And it wouldn't maybe be right now as things are today. It wouldn't be that the top soccer team is all women. It'd probably still be all men. You'd probably still have this locker room problem. You'd probably still have this social problem of the coaches not wanting to coach women and what's going on here. You know, you'd probably still have all that rubbish preventing young girls from getting that good to compete with these top levels. But actually, when the filter went in, when the system went in like that, what you'd see is probably in the 2nd and 3rd division, mixed teams, because the women would be good enough to compete. And why would you not have someone on your team that was good when, you know, instead you could have someone that was slightly bad but a man? Like, why would you go for the slightly worse option? It would just be, it would be ludicrous. And when that starts to become obvious, when the top female players, I think there's going to be some aspect of it would be money. They don't want to rock the boat at the moment because a lot of hard work is being done to promote the women's game and to create a job, essentially, you know, to give them financial reward in the same way as the men get. But when they realise that actually they, you know, the top playing female professionals could walk into a job that maybe would be slightly better paid on the male side, if only they were allowed, I think that might be the thing that breaks it. I think you might get a few women demanding to be paid equally to the men, demanding to be able to play in the league. It'd be really interesting, wouldn't it? It'd be really interesting to see it. Football was sold as a women's game in America because it had these male-dominated sports, and this was a game that didn't have to be male-dominated. It was sold as a female sport in America. It gained a lot of popularity through that, so I can see why they would want to maintain that momentum. But in truth, yeah, I don't see any reason why football has to be segregated like that. I just don't understand it. Yeah, they never had to train with women, so their idea of our limitations isn't accurate. Yeah, you see, I'm a man, and I would absolutely agree with that. It's not for me to be here, you know, stating my opinion on what women should be doing, is it? We should be opening the door and just, you know, opening the playing field and saying it's equal. There you go. You decide. You tell me. You tell me. Absolutely. Our American football programs do what want males in European football. Yeah, there's another good point, isn't it? There's more than just politics. There's also education at stake, isn't there? You can get a good education through a certain sporting prowess in America, and they want talent for their programs, which are knock-on effects for investments and politics and things like that. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, really interesting. But yeah, sport's great. It's good for you, and we desperately my old high school to get soccer teams. No, like, yeah. Do you know what? At my high school, I told you before, I went to Shakespeare School, didn't I? I went to the same school as Shakespeare went to. And at my high school, they they didn't have a soccer team either. And we all wanted to play football because we loved it in England. But we did rugby instead. And that's one of the reasons I became a fencer, is because fencing was indoors and rugby was outdoors, and you had your head trodden on. So I didn't want to get my head trodden on. I thought that was a silly idea, throwing that rugby ball around. Same as American football, but without the helmets. I was like, give me the fucking helmet then. No, all right, then fine. Right, oh dear. I did a bit of that, did a bit until one fateful day when I got flattened by someone big and choffy, big chonker, in an away game. We went to this away school, we sat on the bus, it was freezing on the bus, then we had to get into our shorts, and I was like, you know what, it was cold on the bus, so I don't need to wear shorts, I need to wear trousers, but I'm having to take them off and put on my shorts, which seems ludicrous, seems absolutely ludicrous. Then we go out, it's cold, like, it's fucking October, in winter in England, it's cold, I've got my shorts on and my rugby shirt, why haven't I got anything warm on? This is silly. And then when we get out onto the pitch, all of us, we're all cold. We're all cold, the rugby team, the school rugby team. I think I was the captain of the B team at this point. I think I was in the B team, but I was the captain. I wasn't after this, I'll tell you. I moved down the rankings in this game very quickly. It was very funny because it was so cold. It was so horrible. And then the other team, the manager, the school, you know, what they called the gym teacher from the other school said, look, the A team, they can play, but for your B team, we haven't got a B team for that age group, so they're going to have to play the under 15s. And I was like, but we're the under 13s. Like, yeah, it'll be fine though, they're the B team and we're really good at rugby, so you'll beat their B team, won't you? Their under 15s B team. And I was like, but we're under 13. I felt it was unjust from the start. They were twice the size of us. They were twice the size of us. Hello, Adil. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Happy to have you again. Our friend from North Africa. The Ganji Puko Warrior crew spreading their net far and wide. Yeah, the other team were twice the size of us. And what happened in rugby is that when someone threw you the ball, you got the ball, you can either run towards the other team and try and get it, you know, to score the try, to score the touchdown, or you can throw it to somebody else, like that, yeah? Throw it to somebody else. Now, I'd got myself lined up into the best position in the team, which was scrum half, right? So when the big lads had all fallen on the ball, that's what they did, the big lads, oh, there's the ball, oosh, get on it, oosh. They're all falling on the ball. I'd get in there, scrum half, my job, get that ball, get out of the way, big lad. Pass it to me, get it out from under there, kick it to me, little big lad. Yeah, they'd scruff it out with their feet, and I'd chuff it away. Chuck it off like that. Just chuck it away. Someone else would catch it, and they'd run. Run at the tee. It's flattened, splosh. Oh, my leg. And I'd run over and be like, if you're under there, and you can get the ball out, give it to me, and I'll chuck it away. That was my little job. I was the scrum half. I like being scrum half, but for this game, they moved me out one, fly half. What's that mean? What's wrong with that? Why? It meant they were chucking the ball to me, didn't it? It meant now, instead of me chucking that ball, oh no, don't need to flatten me. I haven't got it. I was catching the ball, and they're all looking at me. And I was just like, yeah, I think it was just Snips has given you the sub. I think I remember. That's how you'll know. I remember. But in the future, I don't know. None of us are experts at that sort of thing over here. We're just having a good time on the old internet. But I think it was just call me Snips. Adil, that was my answer to you. That wasn't me just saying random stuff. That was direct talking to chat. So yeah, so when I got the ball, the big lads came running at me. They were the year above, remember? They were the 2 years above. They were big lads. And I thought, oh, chuff this. And I got flattened a few times. Before I didn't even manage to throw the ball to the next person before I got flattened. Because you have to do the business of catching it before you can throw it. I got flattened a few times. And then the school gym instructor, our gym teacher, you know, our coach, he was like, oh, you're not doing very well today, are you, Scott? Move you out one, I'll move you out one. And that meant that now there was somebody else in the line before me catching the ball. They got rid of it quick and got to me again. Oh no, I'll chuff it now. I kept getting flattened. They moved me back. Oh, why don't you go fullback? What's fullback? I'll tell you what fullback is. When they kick the ball, when the other team have had enough of it, when your team have had enough of it, when they've all had enough of it, they give it a good kick right down the other end, and you're there. You're the last man on the team, fullback. No, you have to watch this ball come in. Oh, chuff. Oh, chuffing now. Oh, chuffing. I gotta but you catch it. By the time you've caught it, oosh, they're all running. They're all on top of you. Fullback, last one, catch the ball, get flattened. Oh, my days. I made it all the way back to fullback. There wasn't anywhere further back in the pitch you could put me. I decided to stand behind the posts. The ball came flying over. I'm supposed to catch. I was just like, chuff it, you know. I actually remember at one point they're running towards me, so I just threw them the ball. I was like, what's the point? They're going to flatten me. They're going to get the ball and they're going to score. That's what there's like 4 of them. They're bigger than me. At this point, I'm the last line of defence. It's all over. I handed it to them and said, you have it. My coach was so cross at that. But I was like, look, coach. Take me out, sub me out. It's freezing. freezing. They're bigger than us. They're already 15-0 up, or whatever it is. There's no, I'm not, this one's that just, we can call this one up, can't we? We can draw a line under this. I can go and warm up my hands. We can have some nice hot tea. What do you mean there's no tea? What do you mean there's no tea? There was no tea. Well, we got on that bus. We went in the changing rooms, right? And we were so cold, our hands were blue and freezing, and nobody could turn the taps on to get the hot water out. It would have probably scalded us anyway. We just put our clothes on over our rugby clothes. I put on my actual school clothes over my dirty rugby kit as quick as I could because I was freezing. Got on that bus and just, I'd been trampled on, I got all stuff all over my face, all my hands were all, stamped, and all my fingers were poking out in different directions. Just got on the bus with all my clothes on and went home. God, that was the last time I played rugby. That was the last time. Honestly, that was the last time I played rugby. As soon as I could, I was just, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm switching. Fencing, indoors. It's indoors. It's indoors. That's it. Just think about that for a minute. Football is great. It can improve your mental health. So can all sports, but especially the ones that are indoors. Oh yeah, it's indoors. What? So you mean it's heated? Yeah, it's heated. Yeah. Can you get hurt? Well, you could hurt. But if you're good, you're going to get out of the way. And also, you can wear a mask, so it's not going to hurt you. Like, we're not actually trying to hurt each other. It's only it's a martial art, but it's a it's a sport. So we don't really want you to get hurt. So no, it's not going to. If you're good, if someone tries to, I'll tell you a good story about this as well. Mental Health Monday. Just chatting now. Just chatting. At fencing competitions, you used to get adults who were maybe not as skilled. I'll just give them the benefit of the doubt and say that. And sometimes you used to get adults who got cross and weren't as skilled, and they used to hit you hard. Like, I was younger, I was probably about 15 at this one. This was a really good story. I remember my coach telling it to other people. Yeah, I remember my coach telling it to other people. Where's my big face? Where's my big face? I should go upstairs and get my swords out. So I was fencing this guy. He was from the RAF. And I was about 15. It was an open competition. It was to get into the last 16, something like that. So it was important. It was open, which means adults, kids, anyone. If you want to turn up and fence, you get a ticket. You can fence, and whoever wins. Essentially, open competition, and you could poke your eye out. You could poke your eye out, and the guy was hitting me particularly hard, and what he was doing is, your shoulder blades here, like you're moving your arm and you've got this muscle here. I don't know if he was doing it deliberately. I don't know if he was deliberately doing it. I think he was getting frustrated. I was a younger person. He was from the RAF and considered himself to be an adult fencer, so I think he thought he should have beat me. I don't think he knew, because our club was on the circuit quite a lot, so I don't think he knew about us. It was the first time I'd seen him, so I don't think he knew that we were supposed to be good. But he was getting wound up and frustrated, and when he was hitting me, he was clubbing it, and in order to club it in on this part of my collarbone, which really fucking hurts, he'd have to lift his arm back like this and club it in. And sometimes I was even doing the right thing, the right technique to parry. I should get a sword out, I should show you. But if someone's chopping you this way, downwards like this, you put your sword like this. I need something sword shaped. Don't I? I need something sword shaped. Oh no, I ain't got anything sword shaped. Well, I ain't got nothing sword shaped. What would you have? You could take the microphone apart. That's not going to be no good, is it? No, you can't do that. Can't take the microphone apart. Look, that'll do. It's a bit of this. It's just a bit of that. But you do it like that, sideways. Like that, look, sideways. So now the sword can't chop through because you're protecting yourself at the top, aren't you? That's a parry, stop. So this guy was trying to club me down, club it in like that, and I'd put my sword up like that, stop. And sometimes, because I was only a kid and he was clubbing it down, he clubbed through my parry into my shoulder, and I was really feeling this. This brutal assault. And I remember, because my coach would, they're not supposed to coach at the side, but you would turn to your teammates on the side of the piece, and because this was the later stages, people were watching. It was like an audience, when you'd finished fencing, you'd stay there and watch your clubmates, your audience clapping. And I'd turn into my coach and looking at him, like I'd said to the referee, oh, this guy's hitting me really hard. And like the referee was like, sorry, you know, on guard, you know, it's just fencing. If you can't take it, get out the, you know, you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen sort of thing. They weren't taking it seriously. And I looked at my coach and he was just like calm down, parry, riposte. I remember thinking, yeah, he's right though, isn't he? Like, you know, this guy's clubbing me, but I've got the technique. I know what to do. I can do this. And because I knew what he was going to do. I knew what he was going to do. I just move in, out, and then no shoulder pads, no, better than shoulder pads, in, out. And I was waiting for him. I was fucking there. And he wasn't getting through this one. I knew it's when you see his arm coming back as well. There's another technique you can do, which I did employ later in the fight, which would have really annoyed him as well. Is stop cut. So he pulls his arm back, and I hit it. You know what are you doing? Pulling your arm back if you want to hit someone. You don't want to do that. You want to move forward to the target, because when you're moving back, I'm moving forward, and I hit you. But he'd still come through and club me. So in this instance, I was waiting for it. I was in, out, and then as he's coming, I was up there, clang his sword into mine. And there was like this moment, like while our eyes met between the masks, where I was like, I fucking got you. I swore, I've got you now. And I pulled my arm back and I clubbed him so hard. I just put everything into it. And I got a yellow card. I got everything, put everything into it, into his shoulder. Oh, he went out. Oh, he dropped his sword. Oh, you know, I just bang, bang, and clubbed everything into it. He dropped his sword and he was like, oh, and the referee immediately, hold, oh, hey, you, yellow card, too violent. And I looked back at my coach and he was just like nodding, just like holding arms folded. Just nodding. Yeah, I don't regret that at all. Yeah, that was brilliant. That was one of the best things that ever happened. But I don't know, what was I saying about? I was saying about sport, wasn't I? And about big people. Oh God, fencing's good for this as well. Actually, yeah, fencing is good for technique and sport, and it being about, you know, not being about how big and tough and strong, like muscle man you are. It being about how skilled and about your mental resilience. Bringing it back to Mental Health Monday, which we're going to finish up with. I was going to finish up with football, and that's what I was talking about, mental resilience and football. And I was going to do a bit more of a big talk about it. We can do a big talk about it another time, but I wanted to say a few things, which we will say at the end here, and I'll let you listen to a special song. So when you go to the football, though, when you're a supporter of sport, and getting dopamine released in that moment, yeah, God, yeah, I probably am, aren't I? It's probably a good antidepressant to think about the things. That and the fact I can see my bit of cake over there, cheeky bit of cake. When you support football, when you support any sport, and this intertwined a little bit with nationalism, we're not going to go deep into the politics of tribalism. There's a lot to be said, in my opinion, for playing out tribal national ideas through sport rather than war. You know, God help, I wish Israel and Palestine were having a football match instead of a killing competition. Yeah, you know, like, but there's a lot to be said for that. But in sport, you get this other aspect of being part of a group that supports, that cheers on, that I'm just going to mute this and just let it roll a second. You get, you know, you're part of this big group, and we all feel the same. You know, when that goal goes in, we all cheer. When the player gets axed down, we all go, ref! You know, we all feel it. We're all there together, feeling the things together. And when we support the team, you know, when you support your club, when you're part of a fencing team or a football team, when you're part of the group that does the sport, and then you watch it together, you know, at the end of the fencing competitions, there'd be one person in the final. Sometimes it'd be a member of our club. We'd all stay there and all support them. It's our journey as well as their journey. You know, when you're part of all this, that gives you a lot. It gives you a lot. I was just saying that. It gives you a lot. And in terms of mental health, you don't always win. You know, you don't always win. It's your birthday again, and it hurts to lose. Yeah, it hurts to lose. You know, you don't always win. You learn to take defeat and learn to be magnanimous. You learn different things. Yeah, you learn to take defeats. The greatest day of my life came when Birmingham City won the League Cup. It's not even one of the best. It's not even the best cup, really. The FA Cup would have been the best cup, but it's the biggest thing we'd ever won, and I was there to see it at Wembley. The greatest day of my childhood came when we won the Leyland Daft Shield, or the Leyland Daft Cup, a really minor, scruffy little cup, but we got to go to Wembley. It's the memories of being with the people. I remember my first football game when I couldn't see over the wall, when I was too small to see over that little side thing at the side, and I was jumping up like that. An away day in Bristol, it was Bristol Rovers, an away day, and being part of this group growing up, it gives you something. Yeah, it gives you something special. And there's a song, I don't want to cry. There's a song that we sing, and this song was written by or performed by a Scottish singer, Harry Lauder, and there was a Scottish player on the team in the 40s who, or it might have been before the 40s, it might have been, because we were 1875, Birmingham was founded, 1875 the club, so it was somewhere between 1875 and 1920. Someone sang this song on the club coach when they were going to a football game. The actual team sang it themselves on the way to the game, and back in those days the team would travel on the same bus as the fans, so the fans caught it as well, and we sing this song all together. And so I thought I'd just let you hear it. I thought I'd just play it for you. I thought we'd all just listen to the song. It's called Keep Right On to the End of the Road, and it's about exactly that, just keep on. Of course, this is recorded on a phone just at the ground. And it's someone else's video, so this will probably copyright strike the whole thing at the end. Right at the end of all the broadcasts, just copyright ruin it. They're just clapping at the moment. Get on with it. There you go. Keep right on to the end of the road. Keep on to the end. Where we belong. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? A little emotional for me, but we all sing a big song together, and you can carry that through. So there's a lot to be said for sport, isn't there? Mental health. Our football team ran onto the field to Guns N' Roses' "Welcome to the Jungle." And it's also, I tell you what, not being nationally proud here, because I don't believe in nationalism. I think nationalism is silly. I think it's silly. But one of the benefits of having, like, in England, in Great Britain, it's the longer term culture, going back a long time, the history. The club was formed in 1875. These songs have had longer to develop. The sentiment. You say it's not as touching. We wouldn't choose Guns N' Roses because it didn't exist back then. So we have these traditions and sentiments that now feel more touching. Yeah, that's nice. And every football club in the country will have their own song. Some of them will be less emotive. Some of them will be more. And it's something that keeps football. I'm not going to say this without crying. Football is a big family. Yeah, I'll just say that, eh? I was going to do Tai Chi, but didn't get to that, have we? We haven't got 20 minutes to learn the entirety of Tai Chi. We're not going to do that. Not going to cry about football. Not going to cry about football. I'm going to start going to see Birmingham City again. But I'm not going to keep going to see the men. I'm going to go and start watching the women's team because they deserve my support and the ethics are better. So that's what's going to happen for me in football. And I hope we go through some interesting stuff about exercise, some mental health, how it can improve your mental health, how exercise improves the mindful approach to exercise. Some level of pride is useful to express the love of your land and those that came before you. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about nationalism for 20 minutes until I leave. I'll put the old Mental Health Monday thing back up there. It is useful, and to love your land and stuff like that, right? That is useful in a way. You know, we talk about being humans, being universal citizens and all that. You know, there is something interesting about that. I always think as well, like, I didn't do those. I shouldn't relish in and take pride in the things that my ancestors did that were good if I'm not prepared to take responsibility for the things that they did that were bad. And I'm not sure I should be burdened with the responsibility of past discretions with racism. And you know, being British is confusing because the British Empire did some horrible things and they did some nice things, and they did some really good progressive social things, and at the same time, you know, the hand that feeds is the hand that smacks. Like, they did some horrible, bad, socially negative things, like racism, the slave trade, but building railways and hospitals, education. You know, there's at the end of it all, I'm born in this country and I didn't do any of that stuff. I didn't do any of it. What we should be able to take pride. I mean, pride is not a virtue. Remember as well, pride is not a virtue. You know, we don't base our society on the ethics of Judeo-Christian. Oh no, we do kind of have Judeo-Christian ethics and values, don't we? But what I'm saying is we're not strictly adhering to what the Bible says. Okay, like the 7 deadly sins, pride's one of them. Pride's a deadly sin. So I get it. It is useful to be proud of things and to look back on traditions with fondness. I get that, and I do think that's good. But I also think it's worth balancing that with not being too steeped in it where it overrides what's important today. Because what's important today is that none of these people that were born today did any of that stuff in the past, and a lot of them are suffering the consequences. And if we could draw a bit of a line under some of it and say, look, I'm fairly proud of this, but How to Hide an Empire, that sounds good. That sounds like an interesting read. I will definitely have a look at that. Yeah, like it's all confusing, but the bottom line, I think, is me going around being really proud of what me, my, drawing another line around. It's not just England, it's Britain, but it's England, but it's Birmingham, but it's, you know, it's just my family. It's all these little, drawing these lines down smaller and smaller. You know, I'm saying let's open them up a bit. And whilst I think it's great to have, what you can do is to focus that pride and that love of your land and those sort of things, and people can, you can focus that into things like music, art, sport, absolutely. And then at the end of the gig, you know, we've all got different kinds of music. Brilliant. I enjoyed listening to your traditional music. I hope you enjoy ours. The battery's going to go. I'm going to keep talking if it does, and then we'll you know, good night. Thank you very much for being here. But the battery is going to exhaust in just a second, but I'm going to keep talking. We can have the pride, and you know, we can share the pride. Great, hopefully, and not turn it into this like, oh, I want my pride and my thing here, and your pride there, and your thing there, and we're going to fight about them. And you know, look what's going on in Israel. I don't know, not at the expense of other people, and the love and like in sport, we can compete and like, oh, come on England, I want you to win. Oh, I wish we were better than Brazil. You know, we can compete and all that, but at the end of it, we all go to the pub together and have a drink and mix and mingle and say, I love the way your forward headed that ball, and wasn't that a great tackle? And you know, like, we need to be able to mix at the end of it. If we can't mix, if it's being used to keep us apart, if it's being used to turn us tribal, if it's being used to, you know, create an ongoing soap opera that we can never wake up from, he said, she said, my team's better than your team, we're, you know, the Greens are better than the Reds simply because you're a Green and I'm a Red. It's just, if it's going to be used for that, then it's bad. So nationalism, I'm not so high up on. Don't really like it that much. I do support the England football team. Of course, the England football team do not support me. They've never done anything for me. They're millionaires and they've never done anything for me. Marcus Rashford's a good lad. He tried to help poor children. He tried to help children get something to eat. But in the majority, a lot of these millionaire sports stars are not doing anything for you know, nothing that's outside their contract. So I don't know about all that, you know. I don't know about all that. They use that pride as a lever to get you to buy things and to get you to buy into things and to get you to support political movements that maybe aren't for your own benefit. They use that pride. They use that pride in your country to maybe make you scared of immigrants. So then you vote for somebody when actually other immigrants are just normal people that are working hard like you and I, that, you know, I would want to welcome. Maybe it's the people with all the money that are pointing the fingers at the immigrants that are my actual enemy, and maybe they're on the same nation as me. Maybe they're not. Maybe they don't care about national pride in the same way. Maybe they've got some kind of different perspective on it. Maybe it's being used to twist me. I don't know. But yeah, I do appreciate that it's also at root, you know, being positive about your history and your experience is at root a good thing. But like I said, with that balance, with that caveat, that I'm not going to take responsibility for all the bad things that people have done in the past. I didn't do them. I didn't do the things that Hitler did. Like the German people I meet in the street, they didn't either. So I'm not going to be like, you fucking Nazis when I see them. In the same way, I'm not going to be able to say, like, you know, we won the World Cup in 1966, aren't I brilliant? Because I didn't fucking win it. I don't know. That was a little bit of a rant about nationalism, unscripted. I was going to do an unscripted rant about something else, but I forgot what it even was now. So, American or Western exceptionalism is irritating. Yeah, it's important for many of my countrymen, even one we aren't even just close. Do you know what I thought as well? I said it the other day. How come it's African Americans and it's not Germanic Americans, Italian Americans, but not like Slavic Americans, Polish Americans? I don't know. Like, aren't we just Americans now? How many years do you have to have? How many generations have to have happened before you can just be an American? How come I'm just English? I'm not Irish English or Anglo-Indian English, or, like, you know, where is the line drawn on that? It's just silly, that, isn't it? Just silly. Eventually, we're going to have to just draw lines. You know, forget the lines. Someone's drawn an arbitrary line around a place and said that's a country. Now you're one of them, and there's your flag, and you fight for that. Next door over here, they've got a different flag. It's a different colour, and they're going to fight for that. And lo and you know, God help you if you mix, because you're going to get cross. Silly. I don't care that much about a flag and a concept that rich people have tried to get me to buy into. I don't care that much about that. I care more about the people living next door and their feelings than I care about, you know, the bigger concept of nationalism and fighting for the people of my race that we might have. Like, they're not even... Yeah. I think I've made the point. I've made the point. And now that I've made that point, and it's running well up to 2 hours now, it's going to give me loads to edit. Check out Mental Health Monday's YouTube channel, because we're going to be uploading these videos to that when I've edited them. Check that out. Make sure you check out my Patreon and all that business. On Twitch, that's where we are now, isn't it, Twitch? Yeah. Check all that out. Yeah. You be good, my little podcast. I will see you anon, probably tomorrow, maybe the day after. I need to get on tomorrow, and maybe later tonight. I need another big rant. I need to rant about this New World computer game, because people think that it's bad that this game has got a shop attached to it. but they don't realise that it's actually a shop with a game attached to it. So we'll have a rant about that tomorrow as well. Woo! You be good. It's been good having you here. It makes my evening. Now I've got to go and squeeze the dog. Should be walking the dog, shouldn't I? But I'm going to be mindfully walking. So I'm not going to be I'm going to mindfully walk the dog. And then we'll have to give him, like you said, give him a squeeze to make sure he's empty. Like the end of the toothpaste. How'd you turn this off?